All right, welcome everyone today to the MicroMentor orientation for mentors. This is a training opportunity to welcome you to the MicroMentor South Florida community. And Joe, I will pass it to you to do a quick introduction.
Sure. Hi everybody, my name is Joe Sanchez and I am with Capital One Bank on our community development banking team. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar and we're excited to tell you more about the program. So I will start by going over the agenda for today's webinar. So you should see in front of you our slide with our agenda. We're first going to start by telling you more about what exactly MicroMentor is, and specifically what MicroMentor South Florida is. We'll then tell you about the benefits of mentoring and why it's valuable to you and also to the local small business community. And then we'll talk to you about what exactly is business mentoring. Then we'll make sure that you understand how to get started on MicroMentor and how to use the online platform. And then we'll review some tips and best practices for having successful mentorship relationships. And near the end, we'll go ahead and we'll have a Q&A, so we'll be able to answer all of your questions. And then we'll make sure before you leave off this webinar that you know exactly what next steps you should take to sign up to participate in the program. So first, let's talk about what exactly is MicroMentor South Florida. We can go ahead to the next slide. So MicroMentor South Florida is a collaborative effort between 3 nonprofit organizations in South Florida whose logos you see on this slide, along with MicroMentor and Capital One. Our nonprofit partners are Acción, Branches, and Prospera, and Capital One has been working with them and supporting their programming for the last 3 years. These organizations provide support services for local entrepreneurs through training, technical assistance, and access to capital. And they work with entrepreneurs every day, so they really understand the value of mentorship and how it can really increase the chances of success for a small business by providing them with access to knowledge and guidance from experienced professionals. So together, we are happy to be able to partner up with MicroMentor, which is an online community of entrepreneurs and business mentors, so that we can offer more opportunities to entrepreneurs in South Florida to have business mentoring. So I'll go ahead and I'll turn it back over to Emily so that she can go more in detail about all of the programming.
Super, thanks so much, Joe. Emily here, and I'm the Business Solutions Manager for MicroMentor. Our headquarters is here in Portland, Oregon, within the larger nonprofit Mercy Corps. MicroMentor is an online business mentoring platform that enables entrepreneurs and volunteer business mentors to connect, solve problems, and build businesses together. Our mission is to empower entrepreneurs to be change makers in their communities and also provide volunteer mentors a volunteering opportunity and the ability to cultivate a deeper sense of purpose. MicroMentor is a global program that connects entrepreneurs with mentors all around the world. Since 2008, we've had over 70,000 users on the MicroMentor platform from almost 200 countries. Now, we have this great opportunity to focus on entrepreneurs in South Florida who can connect with mentors in the area or who can connect with mentors across the globe. So here's a quick overview of how it works, and we'll get into detail of each of these steps. But the first step is to enter the MicroMentor platform and create a profile. Those profiles will be descriptive of what kind of skills you as a mentor have to offer and what are the types of expertise or projects that the entrepreneurs are working on that they need help with. Secondly, you'll be able to search for an entrepreneur that fits your needs. So someone who has an interesting project, and then you'll be able to, number 3, reach out and start a conversation with that entrepreneur. After you've had a few introductory conversations with entrepreneurs, you'll be able to start mentoring in the way that works for you. MicroMentor provides resources along the way in order to help you scope your mentoring relationships, but really it's up to the entrepreneur and the mentor to decide how long they want to work together, how often they'd like to meet, and what they want to work on during their mentoring relationship. So let's talk just a little bit about the benefits of business mentoring, both for the entrepreneur, but also for the mentor as well. We've proven over 10 years of results that mentorship plays a key role in supporting sustainable growth for entrepreneurs. We know that in emerging economies, small enterprises alone are responsible for up to a third of their national GDPs. And in the US, it's even more. Small businesses are responsible for up to 63%. So small businesses really do provide jobs in communities, economic opportunity, as well as prosperity where it's needed most. Now, I talk about jobs because what we see in terms of business outcomes of entrepreneurs on the platform who receive mentoring is that they create an average of 2 new jobs per entrepreneur. They also increase their revenue, and they're more likely to survive than non-mentored entrepreneurs in their first 2 years in business. This means that mentorship is really affecting entrepreneurs' success. It also expands their access to other resources, such as networks, financial resources, and new markets. And what we really see is that we're reaching entrepreneurs who aren't able to access other business development services through MicroMentor. In fact, more than half of the mentored entrepreneurs that we worked with this last year didn't have access to any other types of services to help them grow their business. This is a great opportunity for you as a volunteer mentor to give back. You've accumulated so much knowledge and expertise throughout your professional and personal lives that this truly is an opportunity to share that expertise with a community of entrepreneurs who are hungry for it. Entrepreneurs who receive mentoring through MicroMentor, we know, have better business outcomes, but in many cases, mentors often report getting just as much as they give. In fact, 70% of our volunteer mentors report improving their professional skills, such as communication, collaboration, and problem solving. We also see a huge number that reports a deeper understanding of the challenges that entrepreneurs face on a day-to-day basis, as well as cultivating a deeper sense of purpose in their own lives. So I'll give you just a quick example of a relationship on MicroMentor, so that we can connect this as well to reality. We have Gary here on the screen. He's the former Vice President of Brand and Marketing for UPS, and he's retired and lives in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Gary went onto the platform about 5 years ago and was looking to just give back in some of his free time. He met Cynthia, or Cindy, who is a social entrepreneur just starting up in Nigeria. Now, Cindy had a lot of ambition. She was a very young entrepreneur in her early 20s, but she needed some guidance around how to set goals and objectives, meet those goals, as well as expand her business, which was a biodegradable soap company that she had found sort of a market niche for in her country. Gary and Cynthia started working together, and Cynthia says that Gary's advice was really around setting her weekly and monthly goals and understanding what kind of target she needed to reach every month. So that organizational factor was huge for her and her expansion. And Cynthia says, that's really helped me in almost everything I do now, in her business, but in her life and her activities. She tries to set goals, whether they're weekly, daily, or monthly, and then it makes it easy for her to actually achieve them. This has been a really inspiring relationship, because after they worked on the liquid soap business together, Cynthia went on to start 3 other social enterprises in her country, and Gary has been along her side the entire way, up until today, when Cindy is running actually an accelerator program for young entrepreneurs in Nigeria and other countries in Africa. Gary's actually gone to deliver classes on the importance of finding a mentor and working with a mentor as an entrepreneur. We'll get into a bit more, but I think that this relationship is really great, showing that mentors can help with both the technical side of business as well as building the confidence and abilities of the entrepreneurs they work with and truly sharing in their success. So let's define business mentoring just to be clear as to what we mean. Business mentoring is a process in which experienced entrepreneurs and business professionals provide counsel, advice, and support to entrepreneurs in a structured relationship. It makes sense to say the more experienced person in the relationship is the mentor, and the less experienced person is called the mentee. So I'd like you to think to yourself, have you ever had a mentoring relationship in your life, whether it be personal or professional? Or have you ever provided mentorship as well? I think that all of us can say that there's been a relationship that has turned into more of a mentoring relationship over time. whether we're helping someone else or they're helping us. I know I certainly have, and everyone in the room here that we've talked to in the last couple of days have had experience either being a mentor or being mentored. So what is the role specifically of a mentor? A mentor is someone who provides advice and connections to resources that the entrepreneur needs for success. Mentoring offers the mentee the opportunity of a supported and structured relationship with someone who's truly concerned about them doing well in their business. But be careful, a mentor is not someone who does the work of the mentee. This is not a consulting project. It's rather someone who provides insights based on their previous experience. And on MicroMentor, a mentor is someone who should get just as much as they give. Now, who are the mentees in the MicroMentor South Florida program? As a mentor, signing up through this platform, you'll have the opportunity to connect with mentees from the South Florida area, as well as beyond if you choose to. We're working with these 3 nonprofit partners, as well as Capital One, to reach out to entrepreneurs in the South Florida area and really support the community here. These entrepreneurs can be small business owners, anywhere from brand new startups to operating businesses. They can also be nonprofit organizational leaders and social entrepreneurs, so entrepreneurs that have a social mission at the foundation of their business. Now, what are the mentees asking for? How do they need help? What we see is that there's a few top areas of expertise that entrepreneurs in the MicroMentor South Florida community and beyond are asking for. Of course, there's a lot of need around getting started for new businesses, and this includes business strategy and business planning. For existing businesses, growth and development is really important, and then we see more technical areas such as marketing requests, loans and financing, sales strategy, and advertising and promotion. Now, there's some universal ways mentoring can help. You don't need to be a technical expert in every single one of these areas in order to assist an entrepreneur. Mentors can help by sharing their resources and network connections within the South Florida area. They can help by planning and reviewing business plans or business strategy of the entrepreneurs. They can help to make sense of the process along the way that's unique to whether it's a startup or a growing business. A lot of these entrepreneurs just need help in putting the process together. They can keep the entrepreneur up to date on the latest trends, help cultivate their leadership abilities, and help them manage their financial assets as well as access capital. So we see 3 typical personas of mentors on the MicroMentor platform. And while no one mentor is exactly this, and we often see a combination of all 3, I think it's important to talk a little bit about these 3 types of mentors so that you can see in yourself what kind of mentorship relationship you would like to engage in. So we see that there's the persona of the project manager. And I would liken this to Gary in the Gary and Cynthia story. So this project manager provides organization for the entrepreneur or suggestions for organizational structures, and also accountability by keeping the entrepreneurs on track. We see mentors who function as the technical expert. These are folks who have expertise in specific areas, such as digital marketing, or perhaps accounting and finance. These technical experts can solve very specific challenges that entrepreneurs have. And then lastly, we see the coach. This is more of a big picture thinker. So when we talk about strategy or design, but there's also a fair amount of motivation and confidence building that these types of mentors engage in. So like I said, a mentor could be a combination of all 3 of these, but thinking through what your mentoring style is will help you to communicate that to the entrepreneur and meet their needs in terms of what they're asking for in helping their businesses. So a couple more things here. Common goals of business mentoring. We're looking to get to the heart of a specific business challenge. And sometimes to elicit that specific challenge from the entrepreneur, it's a good idea to ask a lot of questions. I do know some mentors out there who do nothing but ask questions, and that pushes the entrepreneur to answer those questions themselves and actually come to their own solutions. Some other common goals are putting together a specific action plan to solve that challenge you've identified, working through various ideas to structure a business strategy, perhaps for a new business, overcoming hurdles together through troubleshooting and brainstorming, or reviewing the results of a project and providing feedback to the entrepreneur. A couple best practices here for do's and don'ts. The most important thing here is that a mentoring pair should clearly define their expectations and goals in a way that's structured and realistic. So some best practices around mentoring is to engage in mutual respect, trust, and honesty. It's just a fact that people are protective of their ideas, and most entrepreneurs believe that they're operating in isolation and they have to go this alone in order to be competitive. Building that relationship of mutual respect and trust will help to break through those barriers and enable you to get as much information back and forth from that entrepreneur as you need to help them work through their challenges. As a mentor, a sincere and voluntary interest in business growth is important. Clear expectations and well-communicated goals, and we'll talk about a few tools you can use to do that on the platform. An agreed upon time frame for meetings and a plan for even concluding the relationship is the best practice. And then certainly patience and an open mind from both sides. What we're not looking for in a mentoring relationship on the MicroMentor platform is solicitation of any kind. And there is a code of conduct as well as terms of use that all participants will agree to at the beginning of their journey on MicroMentor. There's no financial exchange on MicroMentor, and we discourage disclosure of confidential information as well. As mentors, delivery of advice or information that you're unqualified to give is also a constraint or something that we're asking you to not do. And unrealistic expectations about what the other party is able to contribute is best mitigated by communicating what those expectations are up front. All right, so now we're going to take you through a quick view of what the MicroMentor platform looks like and how easy it is for you to get started. So here is the web page for the South Florida community. You can go to micromentor.org/South Florida and click on this big green button here to sign up. After you click join, you'll be asked to agree to the community expectations and create an account to join the MicroMentor South Florida community. After you create an account, you'll create a profile. This is where you share your background, your expertise, the industry you're involved in, and your motivations for being a mentor. We know for a fact that the more complete your profile is, including a photo, as well as perhaps a web page or your LinkedIn address, and then a description of why you truly want to help, makes it more likely for you to connect in a successful relationship with an entrepreneur. So your profile should identify your industry, describe your expertise, and demonstrate how you can help. Also, that idea of demonstrating your passion for business development is very inspiring to entrepreneurs who are looking through your profile. But just a caution, your profile should not disclose any sensitive information, solicit or offer financial support, and then in terms of being professional, what we often tell entrepreneurs as well, that to do their best in not having spelling or grammatical errors and just trying to be more of a professional-facing profile. Great, so once you have your profile finished and you're happy with it, it should take you about 15 minutes to 20 minutes to do, you'll be able to search for an entrepreneur. MicroMentor has a matching algorithm that will push entrepreneurs up into your search field that seem like they would work for you. So if they're looking for a similar expertise or a similar industry in which you're involved and what you can offer, you'll see those entrepreneurs that are relevant to you first. You can also use the manual search filters. So play around with these filters a little bit. You may not want to get too specific and look at a broader audience, or if there's somebody exactly you know that you'd like to work with, depending on their business stage, their industry, what expertise they're looking for, or even their language spoken. We have many entrepreneurs on the platform who speak Spanish, who speak French, as well as other languages. Then you're able to manually filter by those specific areas. All right, so once you've searched around and you've done some filtering and you've found a few entrepreneurs that seem interesting to you, you're able to reach out to them and start a conversation. So entrepreneurs can reach out to mentors on the MicroMentor platform, but vice versa. Mentors can also initiate conversations with entrepreneurs. And we recommend that both sides be proactive, as well as reaching out to more than one entrepreneur, right? Entrepreneurs and mentors both are busy people, so if you reach out to 3 or 4 entrepreneurs, you'll be sure to hear back from at least one within the week. There's also another great feature on the MicroMentor platform where you can refer an entrepreneur to a friend or a colleague. So if you see somebody who's having a business challenge that you think your colleague could better serve, they don't even have to be signed up on the platform. You can actually refer that profile or that entrepreneur's project to your friend or colleague, and it will send them an email and say, hey, this person looks interesting to you. Would you like to sign up? You can also add a bit of a personal message there as well to add more context. This is a great way to get other people involved. So if you know a friend or someone you think would benefit from being a mentor as well, this is a super easy way to refer them to the MicroMentor platform. All right, so your dashboard is going to be the central location where you're able to manage all of your conversations, as well as your profile and settings, and then access key resources that will help to guide you along your relationship. So these new and ongoing conversations will appear here in like an inbox format. Also, we'll talk a bit more about the resources that are available to you, but there are videos as well as printable worksheets and PDFs that will help you to get started. And then, of course, here under Manage Your Profile Settings, this is where you're able to make edits to your account. And even if you'd like to be a mentor and an entrepreneur on the platform, you can manage your profile here and add an entrepreneur piece to your mentor account. So that's just one additional ability that you have on the dashboard. The last part of the MicroMentor platform is the Ask and Answer Questions section. So this is really a community Q&A forum where both entrepreneurs and mentors can crowdsource answers to questions that they have. This is a really great way to get started with mentoring. It's a much quicker engagement than the one-to-one relationship, and you have the opportunity to impact lots of entrepreneurs by providing questions to their specific answers. And so feel free to search through the thread. You can add answers to various questions that entrepreneurs are asking, and that actually helps as well. This is a good way to even connect eventually with one of these entrepreneurs in a one-to-one mentoring relationship, or just focus here on answering as many questions as you have to make the broadest impact possible. All right, now we're going to move along to some tips for successful mentoring, and then we'll get to the Q&A section. So we have a lot of people ask about finding the right match on the MicroMentor platform, and what are the best practices for doing so. I mentioned already that an effective profile or very detailed profile is a great way to articulate your skill set and share your motivations on how you can help. So it's important to have a complete profile. Another best practice is really to take the time to find the match. So expect to spend about 30 minutes reading through these different entrepreneur profiles and reaching out to multiple entrepreneurs who seem interesting so that you can have some introductory conversations back and forth and assess the fit before you engage in that longer-term one-to-one mentoring relationship. Another cool tool that exists on the MicroMentor platform is that entrepreneurs have the option to complete a self-assessment for themselves. If they complete the self-assessment, it's tagged to the bottom of their profile and will show you the various areas of their business where they've done quite a bit of work, such as sales in this example, and where they need the most help, such as finance here. This is a great quick way to assess the business progress of that entrepreneur that you're interested in. Another best practice is to make a great first impression up front with those introductory messages. Share with the mentee why you think your background is a good fit for the business challenge they're trying to solve. Describe what you personally hope to gain from the experience. Ask the entrepreneur to let you know if they're available. Sometimes entrepreneurs hop on the platform, they find a mentor right away, and then they are maybe busy with that one mentor, so sort of assessing the time fit. And then just be responsive and recognize that most people on the platform are busy folks, so it might take a couple days for them to respond to you. Here's one of those resources that are available under your dashboard. We have a mentoring roadmap that you can actually print out if you'd like to use it as a worksheet to help guide those initial conversations with your mentee. Now, most conversations after they've been started on the MicroMentor platform are taken offline. So you can choose to continue your relationship on the phone, via Skype, even WhatsApp, or meet in person. And I think the great opportunity with the MicroMentor South Florida program is that we have these 2 Capital One cafes where you can even reserve space to have meetings with your mentees in person. Now, this mentoring roadmap is a great way to get started. It's a quick worksheet that will help to define the entrepreneur's need statement, choose an approach to your relationship, and define the scope. So the timeline, as well as perhaps the check-in schedule or deliverable, and when you want to conclude that relationship. Again, this is under the My Resources section in your dashboard. There's other great resources there around communication, around best practices for being a mentor that you can access along the way as well. So I'll cover a few of the most frequently asked questions, and then we'll turn it over to the audience to ask some questions as well. We get the question a lot about what the number of entrepreneurs is that mentors should ideally work with. The quick answer is it's absolutely up to you. What we see on average is that mentors generally engage in 1 to 2 relationships at any given time. Obviously, they do take some time. So maybe being overwhelmed with too many relationships is not a best practice, but we do have folks on the MicroMentor platform who are absolute superstars who mentor hundreds of entrepreneurs through their mentoring career on MicroMentor. And we have others who come to the platform and maybe mentor 1 or 2, and they get what they need out of the service. The average length of a mentoring relationship, again, is up to you to decide. But the average length is a total of 12 hours over the course of 3 months, and generally meetings occur either weekly or bi-weekly. But again, the frequency of those meetings and how often you're messaging each other, whether it's sharing documents via email or maybe messaging on Skype or by text, is absolutely up to you to agree upon with your entrepreneur. So what if you change your mind or it's not a good fit? You've reached out, you've had a couple initial conversations, but it doesn't seem like this is the entrepreneur for you. If it's not the right fit, that's okay. You're absolutely able to respectfully decline continuing to work in a relationship with an entrepreneur. You're not beholden to that entrepreneur. But we do think that it's a best practice, to tell them that another entrepreneur would better serve them and maybe part with a couple shared resources. And finally, how can I end my relationship? We have seen that a formal ending gives the mentoring partners a needed sense of closure. So once you've achieved the goals or you've solved the challenge that you initially set out to solve, it's a really great time to evaluate the work that you've done. Wrap up that last objective, and then decide together to either close the relationship or set future goals to continue working together. And that's absolutely up to you. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to the group. Since we have just a few people on the call today, go ahead and ask questions using the mic if you want to unmute, and we'll have about 10-15 minutes of Q&A here around the MicroMentor South Florida program. Anyone have any questions to start?
No questions here, Emma.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Jesse or Joe, is there anything that you think you have for questions?
Yeah, this is Joe. Can you talk a little bit about if people want to be both a mentor and possibly a mentee?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and we heard that yesterday from the entrepreneur webinar. So it is absolutely possible to create a dual profile on MicroMentor. You have to choose which path you want to go down in the very beginning. So choose a mentor or mentee profile, and that will be your primary profile. But after you've filled out your mentor profile, you can actually go to your account and settings and add an entrepreneur profile there as well. Now, the question is, why would you want to do that, right? A lot of entrepreneurs who may need help in a specific business area have also accumulated a ton of experience in other business areas. So we see that entrepreneurs coming to the MicroMentor platform who are receiving help from mentors are also able to pass along other skills as mentors themselves. And we love to encourage that cycle, right? That sort of virtuous cycle of receiving support, but also then giving support back to the community. So it's absolutely possible to make a dual profile. You would just add that second piece, whether it's the mentor or the mentee piece, through your account settings. It's really easy to do. Thanks for the question.
We did have one question here. Can the entrepreneurs have multiple mentors at once?
Yeah, so the entrepreneurs can have multiple mentors, and often we see that entrepreneurs will have maybe like a business strategy mentor that's focused on improving their business plan or maybe helping them write their annual strategy, but then also have a very technical expert style of mentor who is an expert in digital marketing or social media marketing. And they're leveraging two completely different areas that these mentors have expertise in to help grow their businesses. Again, on average, we see that entrepreneurs work with about 2 mentors over the life cycle. Some entrepreneurs will work with one mentor, and as soon as they sort of close out with that project, they'll start with another. So it is possible for an entrepreneur to have multiple mentors, though we do caution them, because entrepreneurs are also very limited on time. We do caution them not to take on more than they can follow through with.
Hey, Emily, I had a question. I know that you mentioned there were 3 different types of mentors, kind of buckets that someone can fall under: project manager, technical expert, or coach. Is there an actual keyword or tag that goes onto your profile? Like if you say, hey, I identify as this, or is that just a generalization? These are the categories that people follow. Like, is that an actual profile feature category that mentors should look out for when they're setting up their profile?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jesse. So that's more of a generalization that we've come up with after speaking with a lot of mentors on the platform. It's really interesting to sort of see those personas developing, but it's not something that we want to box people into either, because a lot of mentors have tendencies from all of those 3 personas. So while I might be a technical expert in maybe accounting, I also want to motivate my entrepreneur, and I can provide some of those more big picture or confidence instilling strategies as well. So while it's not a feature on the platform and we don't want to sort of prescribe people to one role or another, those are just the general personas that tend to pop up in mentors or entrepreneurs. In mentors. So I think we mention it because it's good for the mentors themselves to think about what their primary style would be so that they can communicate that in their profile. And it's also good for the entrepreneur to think about, well, what type of mentor am I actually looking for? Do I need help in a specific area from a technical expert, or do I need more of somebody who's just going to be a helping hand and support me along the way? But yeah, great question.
Thank you. Also, is it possible for someone to be both a mentor and an entrepreneur on the platform? And if so, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I think that was similar to Joe's question as well. It's absolutely possible. A lot of people do. And like I said, some entrepreneurs will convert from being a mentee in order to share their experience as a mentor. It's easy to do. You sign up on the platform as one specific role. So coming in mind, thinking that, hey, I'm going to be a mentor, but actually down the road, maybe I do have some things that I could ask a mentor for as well. In the account profile and settings on your dashboard, you're able to add that second role to your account. So does that make sense? You'll sign up as a primary, either mentor or entrepreneur, and then you can add that additional entrepreneur or mentor role to your account. And the display of your profile will show everything. So it will show your mentor profile as well as your entrepreneur profile side by side. And you'll be able to reach out to both mentors and entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any more questions?
Hey, Emily, this is Joe. You might have covered this already, and I'm sorry if I missed it, but if I'm a mentor on the platform and I form a good relationship with my entrepreneur and we start to have, you know, communication, of course, that's not on the platform. Is there anything that I need to be continuing to do on the platform to sort of be documenting that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, Joe, what I've seen is that some people continue to use the platform to share their notes between the entrepreneur and the mentor. Others do this maybe via email or some other mode of communication. It's important to come back to the platform every now and then if you're looking to mentor more than one entrepreneur or if you're continuing to look for entrepreneurs. But honestly, once you make the connection, the MicroMentor platform is the connecting point. And then you decide. So I do have mentors who manage their entire relationship through the messaging in the MicroMentor platform. So that's where they choose to document their notes, and they're able to just put that right there in that conversation so that they can keep track of each of the entrepreneurs that they're working with. So the MicroMentor platform is a good place to do that. But certainly it's up to you and your preference in terms of how you want to manage communications with the entrepreneur. But coming back to the platform every now and then is a good practice if you're looking to connect again with an entrepreneur. If your profile is inactive for over a month, then the profile actually disappears from the search. So you'll have to if you'd like to mentor again, as soon as you log back in again, your profile will pop up. It's just to prevent people from reaching out to folks who are not active at that moment on the platform.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, and I think there's one more question from in the room here. So I've got a question here that says, can mentors connect with each other to share best practices or ask questions? I think that's a really great question. The community Q&A is an awesome spot to do that. Often mentors will ask about, hey, is there any mentoring best practices for this field? And then mentors can respond to that thread as well. So the community Q&A operates as a place where you can conduct sort of a one-to-many conversation, either mentor to mentor or entrepreneur to mentor as well. Also, mentors can reach out to other mentors in one-to-one conversations. And so if there's support or a mentor that looks interesting and you're a mentor in the South Florida area, you can say, hey, do you want to meet up at the Capital One Cafe and talk about your experience or maybe some best practices that you found over time? So it's absolutely possible for mentors to connect with other mentors on the platform, and conversely, entrepreneurs with other entrepreneurs on the platform too.
Hey, Emily, one more question. Can you, I can't remember if you've touched on it with the deck, but can you please remind us, like a quick refresher on if you want to be a mentor, like what's qualifying? I know there's like a certain amount of years you should be in business. Can you just go into that a little bit more?
Sure, absolutely. So the MicroMentor platform recommends that mentors who are coming to the platform have at least 2 years of business experience or professional experience. And you will actually list those years of experience. So whether you've been a business owner or some type of manager in your professional life, that will be listed on your profile, so that experience will be there. Of course, we don't want to limit anyone who has the desire to become a volunteer mentor, and it often is a good place to sort of practice some of those coaching skills or help to develop leadership skills as well. Mentors often report a lot of development in terms of those professional skills as well as more personal or interpersonal skills. But 2 years of business experience or 2 years of ownership experience is recommended to get started as a mentor on the platform. So I think maybe I'll turn it over with a question to the Capital One Cafe. So we have the Brickell Cafe and the Miracle Mile Cafe here today. Could you talk a little bit about how you might utilize the cafe space to help support the mentoring relationship?
Yeah, so our cafes, all of our cafes have what's called community meeting rooms. We have cafes in Coral Gables, Brickell, Miami Beach for Miami. We're opening one in Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale area. And then we also 2 more in the Palm Beach County area, where there's West Palm and Delray Beach cafes. In all of these cafes, technically the pilot is with us in Miami, but you'll be able to create a profile through the South Florida. You would reach out to an ambassador, and we would actually get you set up with a temporary account on Liquid Space. Normally, our meeting rooms are only reservable for nonprofits and student organizations. But during this pilot program, between now and September, any entrepreneurs and mentors that are part of this pilot will actually have access to reserve the meeting rooms, mainly because we wanted to be able to have that in-person option. So right now, micromentor.org is a website where you can meet people virtually. But if you happen to connect with someone that's also through the program, say you're out of Fort Lauderdale and the other person's in Miami, you can utilize the cafes to meet and work together, connect. We have free Wi-Fi, and you can reserve the meeting space. So that is something that is open, available to you as entrepreneurs that in other cases wouldn't be, because right now it's only available for nonprofits. But this is a really great opportunity to be able to use our space, our Wi-Fi, and also get some free coffee from Pete's.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessie. Fantastic. Well, if there's no other questions, then I think it's best to talk about next steps and how to get started. So the MicroMentor platform really makes connecting easy. You can volunteer and make a huge difference in an entrepreneur's life here in South Florida and even beyond. So we're asking you today, after this webinar and sort of understanding a bit more of how the program works, to join the MicroMentor South Florida community. Get started. Go to that micromentor.org/South Florida address and click the big green join button to start filling out your profile. Once you've got your profile filled out, you'll be able to start a conversation and start mentoring. And then we have a couple really fun live events coming up. So a launch event on June 25th at the Miracle Mile Cafe, as well as an event in July at the Brickell Cafe. So perhaps I'll let Jessie, would you like to talk a little bit about the launch event on June 25th that you're all invited to as well?
Yes, so the launch party is going to happen in our cafe in Coral Gables, and it's going to be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We'll have some beverages, and it's going to start off with a networking mixer, and we're actually going to have breakout sessions of speed mentoring rounds. So it'll give you like a really good, crisp example of what you can expect on the profile, especially if you're really just trying to feel it out and you're not exactly sure if you want to get started on the website. You'll get to meet other ambassadors that are there to help support you, and you'll also get to be able to meet the nonprofit organizations that she mentioned earlier in the deck that we'll be in partnership with. Again, all of those resources that they provide, you would be open to receiving as being a part of this pilot. So it's got a lot going on, and we'll be able to really make sense of it all in person as well.
Great. So I'm going to go back to the slide that shows the landing page and the web address. And Joe, I'll hand it over to you to close out.
Great. Well, thank you again, Emily, for going through all of this wonderful information for us. And thank you to everyone who is listening in. We hope that you will immediately after this webinar, while it's still fresh in your minds, go to the landing page, www.micromentor.org/South Florida, and sign up. And we look forward to being in this program with you. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining today. Appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye.